All right, guys. Everybody got Casey Crawford here, the CEO of Movement Mortgage. How you doing today?
Man, rocking. Middle of summer.
Good, good. Hey, question for you, and I don't need an exact number, but how many LOs do you have right now?
Oh, gosh, about 1,700?
You have 1,700 LOs. Are you happy with that number? Are you looking to grow, get more LOs? Are you looking to shrink, or are you on cruise control? Have you hit your cruise altitude?
Do all those CEOs that get on this? Yeah, I'm looking to shrink.
No, I mean, honestly, well, hold on a second here. I mean, sometimes you got to get rid of some dead weight. I don't know. Sometimes, I mean, maybe there's a case where that makes sense. Are you looking to grow? Are you happy where you're at right now?
Yeah, no, we are absolutely looking to grow. You know, we have about 1.5% purchase market share in the United States, and we think, hey, why not go get the other 98.5% that's out there? You guys did a great piece the other day on Wells Fargo, and I think we're encouraging guys that may not be happy with their current environment to look elsewhere. We are certainly looking to continue to hire talent, especially guys that are focused on the purchase segment. We were built for this kind of market. We've been waiting for this market actually for 8 years to be a purchase-centric market, and it's been really exciting. We're adding, about 100 loan officers a month right now to the platform,
really?
which has been really, really, really fabulous, man. So we're still enjoying a lot of great growth in this market, and we think it's because we were built for this market.
Well, speaking of the market, then let me ask you a couple of things here. So there's been a number of different surveys. I'm going to throw some numbers out at you. 8 out of 10 Americans that were just recently surveyed said that they still think owning a home is the American dream. However, of homeowners, 62% say that we are probably in a housing bubble right now, and 72% say they think it's a good time to sell their house. But with that said, do you think that the market's set for any type of correction right now?
Real estate's always been pretty local, right? But there's no denying that we've had a pretty dramatic run up. I think, the stock market's had a pretty dramatic run up. Interest rates are, though, continue to be at a relatively low rate. And it's going to be interesting kind of to watch what goes on with appreciation, in the years to come. I cannot imagine that there is very much room left in appreciation. The good thing I think we're seeing is that people have still been financed under really conventional guidelines. The big, I think, trouble we got into in the last downturn was the number of subprime loans, the number of investor and undocumented loans that were just flowing through the system. And, the relative mortgage market is still pretty small, about half the size, if it was in that kind of 06, 07 time period. So, I certainly am not looking and anticipating any kind of major downward correction. I would be really hesitant, though, for these guys that are out there investing in property, thinking, expecting major appreciation, major upside. That's something, man, I'd be very hesitant about putting my money into right now.
Where do you see rates going? Because I just saw a quote from
up or down, probably.
What's that?
So up or down a little, probably.
Right, exactly. Well, it is. Rates are going to go one way, aren't they? They're going to go up or down. And if I knew which direction they were going to go, I wouldn't be doing this right now. I'd be doing something else. But I heard Jamie Dimon, who's from Chase. He's always great for a soundbite. He said he would buy a 10-year note right now, 10-year bond from anybody. Do you have any idea on rates? Do you have any direction? I mean, eventually they have to go up, right?
Yeah, but again, we built Movement Mortgage for the purchase market, assuming rates were going to go up that year. That year was 2008. Okay, I have been wrong for a decade about which way rates were going. I've always been assuming they are going up. If you'd asked me at the beginning of any year or at any point during any year which way rates were going, I probably would have told you up at some point. So I will continue my losing streak here, and I'll again forecast that rates are going to be going up in the near future. We're going to continue to kind of drift upwards, really, because they can't go too much further down. And I think there's a whole lot of reasons why they should kind of gravitate back up over time. And, we really, again, because we're so purchase-centric, we really don't try to bet the market. We really focus on serving realtors and buyers kind of that day. I encourage all my loan officers, man, to lock. I went to school with a bunch of really bright guys who are brighter than I was, that all they do is make their money trying to trade the market and guess the market. And, the price right is set every day by half the guys betting one thing and half the guys betting against the price, right? So half guys are wrong every day on this trade.
Now, I want to make one correction. You're not on a losing streak, because I've been calling for higher rates since 2008 as well. I'm going to continue doing it until I'm right. I will eventually be right.
We'll celebrate together on this show. I think we should have a little toast one another as yeah.
I'll just say I told you so. I told you they were going up. Decade late, but they're going to go up. I want to switch gears here and talk about something that really a lot of loan officers and real estate agents are talking about right now, and it's with Zillow. Okay. Yeah. Now, evidently in the earnings call that the CEO Spencer Raskoff did a couple of days ago, he brought up the point that they're going to be going to Washington to negotiate a settlement over what the CFPB says are Zillow RESPA violations. It's Section 8B. The violations are based on real estate agent and loan officer co-marketing and branding together. Do you have any thoughts about that? Do you have any thoughts about your loan officers working with Zillow, and will it change your direction?
Will it change our direction? Well, I mean, I think we have to see what the findings are, right, and really read the findings to understand what the issues were. Right now, we just generally know, right, that the CFB has investigated Zillow. They're under a CID, and we're waiting to see kind of what all the findings were. I don't anticipate that it's going to change our behavior much at all, because everything we do we believe to be 100% compliant. We have it vetted by kind of the top RESPA council in the country. But I can tell you that I have seen in the marketplace folks that maybe don't take quite as conservative approach as we do and have a little more of a cavalier attitude towards lead management. And all I can tell you is that if you're going to be in this space working with realtors and co-marketing, you better dot your I's and cross your T's. You better have a rigorous compliance plan that is well documented and that has been vetted by not one, I would actually go with a couple firms from Washington and take a least common denominator approach, kind of come up with what all the firms agree upon is absolutely allowable behavior, and then make sure you document that behavior really stringently, because if you come in to be investigated, it's kind of a guilty until proven innocent proposition. You better be able to prove to the Bureau that you're doing everything above board. And I think, unfortunately, some guys haven't realized that. There's been a little too much of a cavalier attitude in the industry as it relates to co-marketing with leads.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you on that. I was looking at some properties the other day, and we were doing a demo, and I found myself in the North Carolina market. So I'm in the Northern California market, and I was looking into—
Stay there. Don't move to North Carolina. Stay in Northern California. You're in the most beautiful place in the world.
I saw I think a 3,500 square foot brick house going for $285,000, which would probably be about a $5 million property out here.
Yeah, man, it might have been on the golf course behind gates out here. Yeah.
I heard for $300,000 you get the governor's mansion in Indiana. I'm not sure about that though. It really is the different areas of the country, different stuff going on right now, obviously. And I think it's incumbent upon loan officers and real estate agents, all the stuff that we're talking about right now, is to educate themselves. I think that's hugely important. Always furthering yourself. And speaking of that, odd segue here is I understand that you just finally opened your school. Now, I saw something on this just recently, and I thought it was pretty cool, actually. It appeared to me, and tell me where I'm wrong, that you took an area where there was possibly some urban blight,
yep, and
you took a huge building. It looked like it could have been like a Sam's Club or something, and turned it into a charter school. Is that right?
Former Kmart shopping center. Yeah. So West Charlotte is historically in our city. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and West Charlotte, the West Side corridor, has historically just been the most underserved corridor of our city. Economically, educationally, spiritually, kind of any way you can think about it, has not been invested in heavily. Actually has the highest rate of homeless kids right in that corridor in town. And we found a school that was doing incredible work over in that kind of town, and they had a 500 child waiting list. It's a public charter school with a 500 kid waiting list, and said, we don't know everything about education, but you all clearly do. And they're having 3 times the academic success with this demographic population as the public school peers. And we said, man, we though have some capital and we understand real estate. I said, if we could buy a building, buy a facility, would you all help us staff it to continue to serve the children in this area? So they said, yes, absolutely. So we bought a Kmart shopping center and launched a public charter school. It's called Movement School. And yeah, actually just this week, we welcomed 300 kindergarten through second graders for their first day of Movement School. And our school is a Title I school, which means a vast majority of our kids come from families that are at or below the poverty line. And so it was just an incredible privilege to walk them into just a brand new, beautiful facility built just for them. And we had parents crying, kids crying. I was teared up, had all of our staff there, through the Movement Foundation, acquired that property. It was kind of part of our vision about being a movement of change in the communities that we serve and investing in transformational, generational projects that change the trajectory of kids' lives. So not loan officers today, but maybe, 20 years from now.
So it really was. It was a Kmart then. It was a
Kmart. It was a Kmart, man. Yeah, everyone's going. Amazon has killed retail, right? So
right.
This isn't like unique around the United States where retail people are moving out of shopping centers. Yeah, we bought an entire Kmart shopping center. So the Kmart building and all the real estate that goes with it. And we're actually looking at doing a synergistic project on this site with not only a school, but an affordable housing project and an urban healthcare clinic as well, to kind of look at how we can synergistically solve some of the issues of urban blight in the U.S.
I would imagine if you're putting a school in there, that should affect some of the other businesses around there, right? I mean, you're drawing a lot.
We create jobs. The real estate values all of a sudden, have started to pop up. It's kind of neat, man. And we kind of went first over into that community. We've had a ton of folks now come alongside us going, hey, we want to invest over in this community as well. Let's think kind of synergistically about how we can transform this whole corridor of town. And it's we think education though is one of the most significant institutions that can really shape a child and ultimately a person's life.
Oh, totally.
We did a year-round curriculum for our kids, and we're going to get to pour into their lives from the times our kindergartners all the way through 12th grade. We're teaching character development. We're teaching them academically, but our mission statement for the school is similar as the company's company. Our company mission statement is we exist to love and value people. The schools, we exist to love and value scholars. And we really want to love and develop these kids holistically, not just academically, but also from a character perspective, and teach them good financial principles as well. We don't want these kids to suffer kind of the consequences of debt that we see so many Americans struggling with right now.
What'd that cost you?
We invested $13 million in the whole shopping center and the school itself, the upfit, renovations and whatnot. Nice thing about it, though, it's a public-private partnership. So we bought all the real estate. The real estate's owned free and clear. There's no debt on it. And we get a state allocated dollar for every child that we educate that pays for all the operational overhead. So our whole thing is sustainable investing. And we say investing, not giving, because we want to see a return. We want to see these kids grow and develop. And then we talk about it's being sustainable because once we've acquired the real estate, the school actually sustains itself on a state allocated fund per child. So we pay all the teachers and all the overhead of the school out of that.
Wait, you do? Movement Mortgage is paying the teachers?
No, well, we are, but the state actually provides the funding for all the operational overhead for the school itself. So because we've acquired the building and there's no debt on it, the operations of the school are funded from the state dollars allocated for each child. So that means we can run it for the next 30, 50 years, kind of into perpetuity without any funding hurdles or funding issues once we pay for it all up front.
So you paid for everything up front, so there's no ongoing cost for you.
That's right. Yep. Yeah. There's no fundraising needs, nothing. This school is there to be in place in that community going on a go-forward basis without any additional fundraising needs.
How many kids is it going to service?
So we have 300 in kindergarten through second, and then we're going to add a grade a year up through sixth grade, then out of middle school. We actually just funded a high school down the street also. So we'll ultimately have 12 grades, and we'll serve about 1,200 kids.
So you have a second location that you're working on right now?
Yeah, we did. We already partnered with a charter school in town called Sugar Creek Charter, and we helped them build a high school. And so that's our other kind of partner school, and we're looking at another location now to start a third. I guess it would be elementary school.
That is super cool. I mean, that is really fantastic. And I love the fact that it's, as well it should be, is I think you had mentioned in there that you're serving the underserved communities. And we need more businesses in our country to be doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of underserved communities, I just saw that there was a study that was put out from HUD. And they said from 2013 to 2015, 8.3 million unassisted families are living in very low-income housing in substandard conditions, and that those folks are paying upwards of 50 and over 50% of their gross income for their rents. Do you have any thoughts right now? I know this. I didn't preface you on this one, but I just read this, and so I was wondering if you have any thoughts on this with what HUD is doing, what we're doing collectively in terms of helping underserved communities in housing right now. And is there anything that Movement Mortgage is doing to work in this area?
Yeah, I love HUD's mission. I mean, I think it is important. I mean, if you look at all the statistics around families' wealth and home ownership is one of the key determining factors of a family having financial success and being viable. We know that ownership in neighborhoods, leads to lower crime rates, right? Because they own the property, right? There's a sense of permanence there. I'm not just a renter, but I'm an owner. This is my community I'm a part of. And we think about bringing capital and education to communities that we're a part of, right? So we bring capital in the form of financing to buy property, to buy real property. If you think about what mortgage companies do, that's fundamentally what we do, right? You want to borrow money to invest it in a community, to buy yourself a home. And we want to bring education alongside that, because we think those two elements transform communities together. So HUD, with their specific focus on helping the underserved achieve access to credit and have housing, is a phenomenally important organization. And what we've tried to do is think about like ways in which we can partner with FHA and with Fannie now, to offer low down payment assistance programs. And we actually partnered with Fannie. It was real public. We have a MAP program that's a zero down payment program for folks that just haven't saved the capital. They have good credit. They're responsible. They're going to pay their bills, but they just haven't saved the capital to be able to make a down payment on a home. We're watching those loans very, very closely, but they're performing really, really well. And we anticipate that creating an avenue, like an on-ramp into home ownership for a number of families who are deserving, that are good credit risks, but that otherwise wouldn't have access to capital. So, you got to be thoughtful. I think all of our hearts, we would love to help every single mom out there, or every family that doesn't have the means to help them buy a home. But we know, and sometimes that is not sustainable. There are some folks who haven't yet developed the credit habits to sustainably own a home. And we need to help, we need to help those folks as well too, right? We need to provide training and education to help guys get on the pathway to home ownership.
Casey, thanks a bunch.
Brian, always a pleasure, man. Keep doing your thing. Enjoy the rest of the summer.
Yeah, you too.